Hey everybody, Stu here again. Yeah, I haven't done a video for about a month now. I just did one here just a couple of minutes ago. It's up there now, I guess. I just wanted to follow up with something. I was talking about the levels of charging, level 1, level 2, and level 3. A little explanation in that other video. I want to mention that most EVs now are coming with level 2 charger with the vehicle. So basically it's just a plug-in cord charger. You can either have a 120 connection or a 220 connection, which would be level 2. And you can plug that in at your home. Those would be in most cases about 32 amp maximum, which is fine. Would probably give you, I'm gonna guess, I don't know, I'm going to say 40 kilometers an hour or thereabouts. I'm not quite sure, but certainly not bad. I mean, level 2 chargers can go to 40 and even 48 amp, and some can go above that, but 48 amp seems to be the kind of the standard now. I think if you went above that, you probably have to add some wiring in. So basically, but again, I just wanted to mention that most new cars are going to come with a level 2 charger, just a plug-in charger that you just need to have a 220 volt outlet properly installed. They have to be properly installed. There is standards for level 2 charging, and make sure your electrician is following those. I did mention earlier that State of Charge is a good reference for for your installation of your EV charger. Tom also does Recharge Rescue, and they discussed some of the concerns that you may have if you're getting a plug-in installed in your house. I personally recommend hardwire, direct wire the chargers. We generally have 48 amp chargers, and they need to be direct wired. And by direct wiring them, there's some safety there as well, because the ground fault is included in the charger itself. Whereas when you have a plug-in, if you're not using a ground fault breaker, that could be a safety concern. And I believe some places will require that as per code. And those ground fault breakers can be firstly expensive, but I believe there is some issues with ground fault breakers, falsely tripping on occasion. Again, I haven't had any experience with those, but I do prefer personally to hardwire in. But however, if your car came with a level 2 charger with a plug, you'll probably want to go to put a plug in until you decide to buy a dedicated charger for your EV at home. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I just wanted to put that out there. The other thing I was going to mention was I don't do this to monetize. I'm not going to make any money from this. So, subscribe if you want, or like if you want, or if you comment, that's fine. I do this just to get information out. It just frustrates me, all the misinformation that seems to be around with respect to EVs. I didn't start out wanting to do an EV channel per se, but over the last 6 years, our company has purchased many EVs, and I have a shop, and I started to look into EVs and start to understand the benefits of electric vehicles. I can't believe as a diesel mechanic from for some 40 odd years that it took us this long to get to electric drivetrains in our normal transportation. It's just yeah. But anyway, we're not going to go down in that history or memory lane on that one. But bottom line is, for me, I'm just going to say it how it is. Electric vehicles are, in my opinion, far better than gas-powered vehicles ever were, and that's just how it is. There's very limited use, really, I think, for a gasoline-powered vehicle. Not that there isn't any use, but it's limited. People think that they're the exception, and you may be, but unless you're traveling great distances on a very regular basis, or hauling trailers and stuff, a long distance, generally, it just doesn't make sense. The average consumer, the average driver, really would have no use for a gasoline-powered vehicle. That's just, and the hybrids, that's a whole other topic, which I covered in other videos. The hybrids are just fool's gold as far as I'm concerned. They do satisfy that sort of, I kind of want to be electric, but I kind of, I got this range anxiety thing, and I don't know anything about electrics. I understand that feeling. I don't say that's wrong. It's a valid feeling, but it is just a feeling. At the end of the day, if you do your research, you understand the way the transition is going, the infrastructure improvements, the quality of the chargers, the speed of the chargers, the size of the batteries, the distances these cars can now go. You put it all together, it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, we know that the industry is going to push hard for the gas and hybrids. I know that the uninitiated don't understand this very well, and they think that, okay, that hybrid makes a lot of sense. We've had hybrids since, what, 97, I think the Prius came out. And I mean, if you didn't buy a hybrid in the last 30-odd years, I'm not sure why you're bothering today. And the plug-in hybrid, I know that gives you a little advantage because you do have a small battery, but tell you the truth, at the end of the day, you're going to wish you had a large battery and didn't buy that engine, transmission, and all those parts that you didn't really need and frankly probably don't use very much. And you still bought all the maintenance, and you still got the oil change, you still got all that. But anyway, I don't know, whatever, it is what it is. Drive what you want, again, but I just get frustrated, I think, a bit with the fact that the information out there is so slanted, and industry has a big stake in this. I understand that. From a business standpoint, I can clearly understand why a lot of industry does not want to promote EV adoption. I can understand it. I mean, if I was in some of those businesses, man, I would not want this to happen. This is going to be a disruptor. There's no doubt about it. I will probably never purchase, I don't think, a gasoline powered vehicle again in my lifetime. So if more people start thinking like that, it's going to be a problem for some of these legacy automakers. I mean, but anyway, I mentioned in the video previously, they're going to try and sell you that gas car and that plug-in hybrid as much as they can. I don't blame them. It's all about making a dollar, and by God, they're going to make some money off you if you buy those. So at the end of the day, you got to do your own thinking here a little bit and do your own research. There's all kinds of YouTube channels out there, okay? A lot better than this one, all right? I mentioned State of Charge, and there's Trucked Up, Trucked Up EV or whatever, Simon. There's all kinds of them out there. Transport Involved is another one there. They're endless. I mean, there's a lot. There was a channel I watched here, for what maybe? I should know this. I apologize, Guy, for missing it. But anyway, there was an article or a YouTube thing the other day about a Mustang EV, obviously. It's got 350,000 miles on this thing with very little issue. Like, changed the rear shocks because you wanted to. I think he did one brake service on the car the entire time he's had it. I mean, that is phenomenal to get, 350,000 miles, I believe. That is just crazy. And the degradation, like the battery was down, I think, I want to say 8% over that distance. I mean, show me a gas car that's doing that with that little maintenance. And by my calculations, at least in Canada, that's 350,000 miles. I don't know what that converts to in kilometers, but even if we said 350,000 kilometers, that car has easily saved, just in the energy consumption, over $35,000 in fuel alone. Obviously you put a lot of miles on in a short period of time relatively, but just the fact that the car can do that, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Anyway, tech's changing, they're getting better. They've already gotten there. We don't have to go anywhere, they're getting better, okay? They're already there, okay? If they don't advance hardly any going forward, which they are advancing very quickly. But if we didn't see any advancements from this day forward for the next 5 years, they're still awesome. EVs are absolutely phenomenally good as far as I'm concerned. The issue I do have kind of with EVs, like any new tech, when something's new, any new engine that comes out, engine transmission, we've seen this over the years. When something's first introduced as a new product or new part or new whatever, there can be issues. There's no doubt about that. And, we're going to see that, I guess, a bit. But obviously, what we saw with that that Mustang Mach-E, like, that's phenomenal. And we're seeing kind of the same thing with the Lightnings, I do believe. They seem to be lasting with no major issues. A lot of other brands as well. I know the Chevy Bolt has proven well. It came out, I believe, I want to say 2017. They just reintroduced it for the 2027 model year, which is out now, which is kind of unusual. And they say they're not going to make them anymore. They just brought it as a one-off for the year, but they've made some improvements on that. But I think that car is one that has proven out phenomenally well, as near as I know. In fact, we bought one recently. And it's kind of ironic how that can work with the warranties, because GM only offers, I think, a 60,000 kilometer warranty here in Canada, and some of the other manufacturers are 100,000, but just fine. But the bottom line is, if I'm going to have this car for a long time, I need reliability. So sometimes you have to make a choice of whether you think the car you're buying is going to be reliable and has the right history, versus saying, well, okay, I'll buy the car that gives me the better warranty. The better warranty is fine if you're trading the car in or selling it before that warranty period ends, but 100,000 kilometers, may not be sufficient to, for me, for the time I'm going to turn that car in. I'm looking for a car to do probably well over, well, I'd say 200,000 kilometers would be the minimum before I figure that car should give me any trouble. So anyway, again, do your own research. There's all kinds of information. As far as my channel here, listen, it's amateur hour. I got that. It's just a place for me to vent and kind of put some information. But by all means, feel free to comment. Feel free. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. I mean, I don't have many, but that's fine. And if you have a question, hey, put it in the comments or whatever. I'll check it out and see if I can help you out with something. But I've had 6 years of this, not 6 years in YouTube, obviously, but 6 years where we're driving EVs. I'm dealing with the EVs, the cost of them. I mean, this company I'm with here, we were buying EVs back in COVID times. We were paying, new car prices for used vehicles. It was absolutely insane. That's not what's going on now. We're buying vehicles now, EVs, for the same or less money than we'd pay for a gasoline-powered vehicle, and the savings are just phenomenal. Like I mentioned in another video, just based on the previous gas prices. I haven't even done calculations on the new gas prices. I haven't even gone there. But even based on just the regular gas price we had like 6 months or a year ago, whatever, it works out generally around 10 cents per kilometer that you're saving. And I've got cars that are the identical cars that we have in the fleet, and we know kind of what the numbers are, but it's 10 cents per kilometer. So just take whatever kilometers you drive in the run of a year, and like for me, it's 30,000. So basically just on energy consumption, fuel costs, my pickup truck has been saving me at least, and the numbers are low here, but at least $3,000 a year in savings for energy, comparatively to the gas. So so I've had it 2 years, I'm up over 6,000 just for the energy cost. And then we can talk about, the brake service you don't do, the oil changes you don't do. I would say that this truck has probably saved me somewhere in the $7,000 plus range over a 2-year period. So yeah, again, you can go back in my videos. I do talk about what the truck was a very reasonable purchase, that the price was right, whatever. So again, you can go out and check my other videos if you want. I'm sorry if I'm a bit repetitive on some of this stuff. I do get a lot of questions from people I know coming to the office. People know we have a fleet of EVs. I deal a little bit with the various car dealers in the area. I've referred customers to various car dealers. And so I'm kind of get a little involved in it, but I'm not making any money. I'm not selling any cars. I'm not selling anything to anybody. I'm strictly doing this because I feel that the information that's provided to the consumer is perhaps flawed. And I think once people start to understand the benefits of an EV, they're probably going to be pretty pleased with the choice they've made. And again, I see so many of these plug-in hybrids being bought, which are not bad vehicles. It's not that they're bad or not. They're fine. If it works for you, that's great. But they are probably a poor financial choice in the sense that you're going to, again, you have maintenance. You're not getting a lot of electric range. It just maybe doesn't make a lot of sense to buy parts that your car doesn't have to have. So, and I don't know about resale values. I suspect, and I mentioned in the video, that we're probably going to see a big drop. Like I don't think you're going to see gas vehicles and hybrids or plug-in hybrids maintain their value very long, because frankly, the more people that get an EV and understand EVs, they're probably not going back to a plug-in hybrid or a gas vehicle. And if you get to that point, like, what do you do with your car? Like if you go to trade in and it's devalued to whatever, you've had it for 2 or 3 years and you find that the market shifted, well, what do? Well, you take the hit, I guess. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the economics of this. I mean, if you look on YouTube, there's some analysts that have looked at this and what's going on with the shareholders and the legacy automakers and why they're perhaps stepping back and trying to stay into the gas vehicles and plug-in hybrids. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about money. I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you've been making something the same way for decades and you can continue to do that and make good money on it, well, why would you want to invest in research and development? Why would you want to change the formula if you can sell what you've been doing? And I think we're going to see that legacy manufacturers at least are going to try and keep selling as much of the same stuff they've been selling us for decades because that's where their money is. Why bother changing? Why bother developing and researching? And the issue now with the pace of change in EVs is that by the time a manufacturer starts to do a prototype or start the design phase of their vehicle, the tech may have changed dramatically by the time they get it to completion. I believe I want to say 4 to 6 years from initial startup or planning of a vehicle till it lands on the assembly line. And of course, that's not the same with the Chinese. I think they're bringing the vehicles from concept to market in something like 18 months. Again, you can look that up for yourself, but it's changing. The EV world is changing. Everything's changing, automotive changing, and that's fine. Change is part of life. I mean, it's like, I don't know, like cable television, and landline telephones. Like, I mean, there was a time that everybody had a landline telephone and everybody probably had cable television. Probably not so much anymore. So, anyway, okay. Well, thanks for listening in. I do appreciate if you want to hit a like or just send me a comment. I don't want to think I'm totally wasting my time here, although I know it's more my chance to vent more so than anything else on this channel. But thank you for your time. Have a good day. And again, if there's anything I can help you with, send me something in the comments and I'll certainly try and help you. As far as models of cars you might consider, I mean, I can tell you right now that the Chevy Equinox and the Chevrolet Bolt are probably my 2 top picks right now. The Ford F-150 Lightning would be a top pick, except that they're discontinuing. But nevertheless, if you can get the price, I mean, I take one in a heartbeat. I don't think we have any problem with parts or anything like that. I mean, they're going to be around for a while. And anyway, I don't think that's a problem. And a lot of the parts of a Lightning are the same as every other F-150 gas version, which is one of the things I actually liked about the Lightning, is that it wasn't that different from a standard F-150 truck. So I did kind of like that. But I do see the models changing very quickly. I know Kia's changed many models of their vehicles. It just seems that they're rapidly changing all across the board. And that's good, except like I said, when something's new is different can cause problems. I think the weakest point of probably an EV might be the heat pump system. And that's strictly because it is a new system. It's basically an AC compressor. It's electric, of course. And it's used for managing the battery as well. So that's doing double duty. And those systems are efficient, they're good. And I haven't had any problem with my Lightning or anything like that. But we have had a couple of vehicles that we have had issues with the heat pump system, different brand. I'm not going to get into that right now. And we've been fortunate they were largely under warranty, but they can be a very expensive repair. So at the end of the day, I think we have to do our research a little bit. I'm not pro leasing necessarily, but really, when you're buying something that's new, like the new tech, never been in existence for more than a year or two, you might want to consider the leasing, or at least buying extended warranties or whatever, because car repairs are very expensive these days. And you can go into a shop and spend $6,000 on what looks like a basic repair. So yeah, okay, that's my 2 cents worth. I mean, I'm not a financial expert here or anything, but that's the only thing I want to say about that. If when you're buying something that's new, but we saw that with GM and their 6.2 gas engine, the trucks turned out to be just garbage, and they had all kinds of recalls, and which was warranty, obviously. But again, you get stuck with something like that's outside of warranty. Like, it's probably 10 grand or 15 grand to replace an engine on one of those, I'm guessing. Transmission failures, we've seen that over the decades. New transmission comes out, different style transmission, something that was just built in that year. And, the first couple of years they have issues. I know Ford had a big problem with their 10-speed transmissions, automatics in their F-150s for a while. I think auto manufacturers had problems sometime along the way when they brought something new into the market. Now, when something's in existence for 5 or 6 years or more, it's proven, you generally get the story. So it's interesting when I see this Mach-E that they said did the 350,000 miles Again, the Lightnings, we've seen a couple of those go fairly high as well on the miles. So I'm going to give those a bit of a thumb up because they've kind of proven out. The Chevy Bolt, I think that's pretty much proven out, although there are some changes on the newer one. It's a little larger. It's got an LFP battery, which you can charge to 100%, which is a benefit, I think. As far as the pricing go, listen, we're seeing the pricing of EVs pretty much on par with gas vehicles. So, yeah. So again, with the exception of some limited use cases where an EV might not be suitable, but I'm telling you, that is a rarity. Most people think, oh, that's me. I'm the limited use case. I'm the guy that's got to have the... No, you're not. I mean, you do your math on it, figure out what you do with your vehicle. You can go road tripping all you want with an EV. I mean, I got a cousin of mine comes up from Texas to Atlantic Canada with a Tesla. He's been doing it for a few years. And, you know, it's not a big deal. And now the charging system has improved so much. Yeah, I mean, it's really not a thing anymore. But again, there can be exceptions. I'm not sure, like for example, Eastern Canada here, Newfoundland, I don't know how good the Newfoundland infrastructure is for EVs. I don't know. I know it's a vast province with a lot of, forest and so on, open areas. I don't really know. I haven't been to Newfoundland. Somebody's from Newfoundland. Would you mind kind of filling me in on that? But I know for Nova Scotia, most of mainstream New Brunswick, perhaps Quebec is really good, I believe. But I'm sure there's going to be kind of sparse areas depending. Now, Simon from Trucked Up, he did a great cross-Canada tour with his Lightning a year or two ago. And you should look Simon up there at Trucked Up EVs because he should be a tour guide. Like it was interesting, not just for the EV side of it, but he actually talked about the places he went, the things he saw. He did some good video on the scenes and everything. It was actually enjoyable just to watch it from a tour perspective. But you also learn something about EVs. And he told you the good, the bad, and the ugly, the times that he, had trouble finding a charger. But that's gotten way better than even when Simon did his trip. And yeah, so, okay, that's all I got to say. I'm sorry, this is the second video I did today. I've always got something to say, and then I end and I think I missed something, and I probably did. Once again, thank you for your time. If you want to give me a thumbs up or something, that's great to make me feel good. My ego. Anyway, but either way, go ahead. Just, if there's a comment, whatever, am I rambling on too much? Hi, just tell me that, whatever. I'm not going to be insulted. I'm thick-skinned. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Y'all have a good night. And, hey, happy EVing, I guess.